What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your Brooklyn, the Disaster Nets news. Today is December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. And I guess the Nets were really bad this year because they've just gotten nothing but a lump of coal of bad news. Brook Lopez reportedly re-broke his surgically repaired foot and is expected to miss the rest of the season. Let's bow our heads and have a moment of silence for the Nets' championship aspirations. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. The one thing the Nets had going for them this season is that Brook Lopez is relatively healthy. He missed 7 games with that sprained ankle, but when he was on the court, he was a 20-5 machine. But still, the most consistent player. He was the only one you can guarantee would give you about 20 points a night and give you a solid low post presence and 5 to 8 rebounds, depending on how much Lopez actually wanted to grab the ball. But still, he was the one consistent factor. And, it looked like the Nets were turning it around. Yes, they had a tough loss against the 76ers, and they lost a game before that. But they were trying to turn the corner. They were getting healthy. Players were coming back. Karolinko and Terry to be back soon. Lopez, it was starting to look good. They were starting to turn around. Jason Kidd looked like he was slowly figuring out what the hell to do as a coach. Things were looking good, and now their season is basically over. It's basically over. It really is. I can't explain it. It's just unbelievable. But yeah. Lopez, they played the rest of the game against the 76ers. Their heartbreaking loss, the last second in overtime to the 76ers. Lopez played through the whole game. I didn't even know he was hurt. Next morning, I wake up, read an article, x-rays, broken foot on the surgically repaired foot. They expect him to be out for the season. The only glimmer of hope is that he is going for another evaluation next week because they have to see if he needs to have surgery again. They believe he will. And if that's the case, he will be out for the rest of the season. However, there's an outside shot that he may not need the surgery, and therefore he would only miss, I believe, 6 to 8 weeks. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that, but they said it's unlikely based off his injury history and the fact that it's the same foot and a similar injury. They're expecting they're going to have to surgically repair it again, and that means Lopez will be out. But with this being said, a lot of people think the Nets should just blow up the team right now. That they should trade Garnett, trade Pierce, trade Johnson, maybe even No. Listen. The Nets went all out this year, obviously. But they also kind of went all out next year because Garnett's under contract next year. He might retire, who knows? And they kind of share the way he's playing. But still, he might retire. But they also expect Paul Pierce to maybe re-sign there. But then again, you never know because he's a free agent. Maybe he wants to go back to Boston. Who knows? But the idea was they have a 2-year window. So technically, Lopez will be back by next season. Yes, Pierce and Garnett will be another year older, but if you ask me, the way they're playing right now shouldn't make a big difference 1 year. They really shouldn't. I don't think you'll see a giant fall off from those guys. So really, if I'm the Nets, I look at this team, still a lot of talent. If Darren Williams can start playing well, God, that guy gets me so mad. He's so bad at times. Like, he really is one of the most overrated players. He should have been on my most overrated countdown because I don't understand it. He was an all-star 20-10 guy with the Jazz, comes to the Nets, and is a complete disaster. Yeah, he can score 57 points in a game, and then one night, and then the next night he'll have like 20 assists. But the guy, he's a good point guard. Don't get me wrong. But he turns the ball over too much. He really makes a lot of bad decisions, and he's really anti-clutch. He makes a lot of bad plays and a lot of costly turnovers down the stretch of games. And that's not good from your leader. But he's still on the team, and he has to raise it up now. If the Nets want to still make the playoffs, which I think they can, and I still actually think they have the talent to still be the 3 seed in the East since it's so weak, but they've got to change. Darren Williams needs to go 20-10. Joe Johnson needs to start scoring more because He's got to be about 20 points. Paul Pierce needs to continue to come off the bench. If there's anything that Jason Kidd has done that I completely agree with, it's Paul Pierce coming off the bench, simply because of the fact, like I said before, Joe Johnson and him, their games don't mesh. And the fact that he's coming off the bench really, to me, helps the team out a lot. And Garnett needs to start playing better. He needs to be a 10-10 guy. Doesn't need to do more than score 10 points and get 10 rebounds. Kid has to start playing him. It's just simple as that. These 24 minutes that you're playing Garnett, 22 minutes, it's not good enough. He's got, get him to at least 30. Okay, you want to cut him off at 30, that's fine, but get him to 30. Because I think, to be honest, I think Garnett kind of struggles because he doesn't play enough. He doesn't get in the flow of the game. This is the guy who throughout his career, even last season, he averaged 32 minutes a game. So I think he just has to get in the flow. Well, I hope so, at least. But the biggest thing I think they need to do is they need to get another center. If Lopez is out for the season, they got to get another center. I know the idea is maybe they'll start Garnett and maybe slide Teletovic in the starting lineup, which Teletovic, by the way, playing fantastic. Or maybe have Blatch or something like that. I think it would be best if they went out there and got another center. Now, obviously, who? Well, I can't believe I'm saying this because I always thought he was kind of overrated, but if I'm Billy King, I get on the phone right now and I call up the Houston Rockets, and I say, no, not Dwight Howard. I know what you're thinking. First of all, the Rockets never traded on Howard. But as for Amer Asik, they're looking to move him, and probably for relatively cheap. But even so, if I'm the Nets, I'm calling up, I say to the Rockets, we were interested in Asik. Asik, as a starter, was a double-doubles guy. He gives you scrappy points, good rebounding, solid defense. He's not a low post guy. He can't get the ball down in the post. But you know what? The Nets will have to change their offense. I'll get to that later on. But he's a scrapper, and he can help Garnett on the boards. He can help Garnett on the defensive end, and maybe that will help Garnett offensively because Garnett has to do so much on the defensive end. Not that Lopez was ever a bad defender, but he really wasn't a great defender. He was a good defender. He can block shots and play solid defense, but let's be honest, he's not the toughest guy around. As much as he's my favorite player, he's not a tough, grindy guy. Amer Asik is. And so I think the Nets should try to trade for Asik. And Asik has a big contract. He does. So I would, if I'm Billy King, I say, you know, I got to look at this Nets team, and you got to say to yourself, who could the Nets probably live without? I would trade Jason Terry and Tyshawn Taylor for Amer Asik. And that is a really good trade. Like, I think the Nets are actually giving too much talent up. Because think of it this way. First of all, the Rockets are in kind of a win-now mode. So adding Jason Terry coming off that bench and that second unit, you know, you put James Harden, Dwight Howard, Jeremy Lin, Chandler Parsons, and then you slide in Jason Terry to come off that bench. That's a good team. And they also give a young point guard and Tyshawn Taylor who can look. And I like Tyshawn. But let's be honest, with Livingston and Darren Williams, he's not really needed. Even Darren Williams gets hurt, they can always use Anderson, which they've done before, or have Paul Pierce play a point forward. So they can kind of live without him. Maybe we'll throw in Shangilia instead. I don't care. But the fact is, they have to make the contracts work because Ashik's contract is like $8 million or something like that. Maybe even more than that, $12 million, $10 million, something like that. And really, they might actually need to add a little bit more fluff than just Terry's contract. I think Terry makes $5, $6, $7 million, something like that. $5 million, something like that. And since they're over the the salary cap, they have to make it close. I think they can do Jason Terry and Tyshawn Taylor for Amer Asik. I think they could do that. They might actually need to throw one more player's contract in. Maybe Toko Shingilia's. You know, I don't really want them to part with anybody else on the team. That's the problem. Because really, financially, probably Andre Kirilenko's contract to work too. But I don't know. That would be interesting to see. But I think that works financially. I actually have to crunch the numbers. As a matter of fact, if you bear with me real fast, I'm going to see something. But I really think that this could help out a lot, the Nets, if they got him. All right. Got to look at some numbers. But also, the Nets have to change the way they play. And what I mean is, their offenses was always based off of Brook Lopez, pound the ball inside, pick and rolls, Brook Lopez, you know, here and there. You don't have Brook Lopez anymore. So you have to do different things. You've got to basically they got to post up less and they got to try to run the ball a little bit. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I know everyone says, oh, the Nets are old, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But they got to do that. They've got to run the ball more, and they've got to play a little bit more upbeat. They got to do more backside screens, some more pick and pop with, and then they got to isolate Joe Johnson more. But have him create and have Darren Williams do more dribble penetration. It's all on Darren Williams. Oh, it's all on Darren Williams. But okay, so yeah, Jason Terry and Tyshawn Taylor's contract is not enough. The Nets would need to throw another player's contract in. Whether it's Andre Kirilenko or Mirza Teletovic, I don't like either. I'm going to throw Kirilenko in there. That will work. I don't like the idea of the Nets trading Kirilenko. Terry, I think they can live without because right now they got Paul Pierce coming off the bench, which really is the same exact thing as what Terry would do. And Tyshawn Taylor is just a good young prospect. You could probably eliminate Tyshawn Taylor from that deal too. Yes, you could just do Jason Terry and Andre Kirilenko. Andre Kirilenko is such an important player in the Nets' eyes. I don't know if they would really do that. But you have to look at this in a situation where, what's your needs right now? They don't need a small forward. They don't need a wing player. They've got right now Mirza Teletovic who can play a wing player as a 3 or a 4. Paul Pierce who can play the 3 or the 4. Joe Johnson can play the 3 or the 4. Alan Anderson can play the 3 or the 4. You got 4 guys who can play both the 3 and the 4. I know Kirilenko, the idea was he was going to be such a big, important player. He's a tough guy. Maybe you don't need him. Maybe you don't. And I think if you brought in a tough defender, an Amer Asik, I think you could make it work. He helps out a lot. I would do it. It's a risk because obviously Andre Kirilenko, the Nets think he had something good with him, but he's never healthy. And I think if you put Terry and Kirilenko on the Rockets, they would do that deal immediately. Especially for Amer Asik. I think the Nets are giving up way more than they need to for it, but it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see. That's just what I would do. And I was Jason Kidd. I would change the style of the offense. I would make it a little bit more up tempo, a little bit more backdoor cuts, a little bit more ball movement, and not as plotty and not as much isolation because Lopez isn't there anymore. The only guy who should isolate, in my opinion, is Joe Johnson and maybe Darren Williams and Paul Pierce here and there. But they should do a lot more creative plays. Give the ball to Garnett in the post. And if he has the advantage, make him do the post game. But if not, have the ball go to Garnett in the post and then do a backdoor screen with like Pierce or something, backdoor and pass it up and have him cut to the basket. Maybe have a backside screen for Darren Williams coming around the side and shoot a 3. Something the Nets have to do is change up the offense. If they do that, and if they bring in Amer Asik, or if they make a move and get another center or do something, but they've got to do something, I really do believe the Nets could still make the playoffs and be a 3 seed. Will they win a championship? I strongly doubt it. But you never know because they still have talent on this team. To blow that team up, to me, is dumb. I'm very upset Lopez could be out for the season. It breaks my heart to see that. Like I said, he's my favorite player. But I do think the Nets can make some moves here. Bring in a Asik, tough-minded player. Let's see what they do. Let's see if they even do anything. They may not do anything. What they probably will do. But I think they should. And I just think it would be a good idea. Because right now, the Nets season, to me, is over without Lopez and without these changes. It's simple as that. And Darren Williams, you really got to start playing better. Like, I understand. Just can't you be 20 and 10 like you were? Oh, God. Whatever. I gotta stop before I start crying. Besides, this video is pushing its time limit. So, we'll see what happens. Nets got a little bit of a tough schedule coming up. They've got the Pacers without Lopez. Oh, Hibbert's going to dominate that game. So is David West. Then they got the Bulls on Christmas Day. That's going to be a good game. The Bucks, they should be able to win. Pacers again. Oh, God. It's not looking good for the Nets. But you never know. Maybe they'll figure it out. I still have hope, but they got to make some smart changes. Maybe make some moves. There were some rumors about them going after Kyle Lowry. That a little confuses me a little bit because I don't think they really need point guards. But who knows? Maybe Billy King's got something up his sleeve. He certainly is very creative. I certainly respect him. But they got to do something because just to try to toughen it out this year and bank it on next year, I don't know. I don't know what exactly they're going to do. Me personally, I would do this trade, even though it's a risk, and I will admit it's a risk, and it may not pan out. I would definitely trade Kirilenko and Terry for Asik because you need some toughness in the front court and a guy who can play night in, night out, and that's Asik. So that's what I would do. Obviously, as NetsBoy and the fact that I love the idea of being a general manager, it's one of my other favorite things I've always wanted to do is become a general manager, specifically at the Nets. I'm going to probably be looking at other ideas of possible trades for other centers or something, or other moves the Nets could do, because that's what the point the Nets are at. They got to start making moves. But we'll see what Billy King does. Anyway, I've definitely taken way too much time. Once again, though, that we'll see what happens. So let me just wish you all a Merry Christmas and any happy other holiday that you either have celebrated in the past, like Hanukkah's done, or in the future. I don't know who's watching. Apparently, I only had 4 views last week after I got like 100 on another video. I don't know what's going on. Justin Shepard didn't seem to comment or hit up after I gave him a shout out. So Justin, what are you doing now? Hit me up. Comment on my videos. Repost them. Maybe it's because I've been a little inconsistent with the posting dates. Just keep in mind to check out NetsBoy. But anyway, once again, happy holidays, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. And this is NetsBoy signing off.